Hey y'all, I don't do this, so bear with me, please. Please. Um, I'm not this kind of visible on Facebook at all. I don't even post pictures that often, let alone videos of me. So I say that to say that tonight is a God thing, not me. Because I would have never done this at all. But my what God had to say to me last night that he is requiring me to say to y'all tonight is that between the problem and the praise, there must be a proclamation. We get so wrapped up in our problems, and we get wrapped up, and I don't know about you all, but me, when I have so much going on at one time, I clam up. And not only do I clam up, but I shut everybody out. The purpose behind that is not to tell people that you're not wanted or needed or loved or anything like that. It's to make sure that I don't have any outside distractions. Sometimes, especially this year, and all of what happened this year and how easy it may have been for some was equally as difficult for others. The interesting part is the problem for some people was COVID. So they think. Because a part of the problem is identifying what the problem is. For some people, COVID showed up just to pull you out of that 9 to 5. God had told you to start the business, to write the vision and make it plain. Some of you, God said to become more visible. Some of you, God was teaching you a lesson in humility. Everybody didn't have the opportunity to keep working through COVID and things like that. And sometimes when things aren't right already, it makes those things that are already wrong be magnified. The point in me saying that is sometimes we focus on the wrong thing, because the focus should never be on what the problem is. The focus should be on what God said. What did God say? What did he tell you to do? How did he tell you to do it? Are you doing it? It's not a whole lot. I promise it's really not that deep. What are you saying? What are you declaring? What is your expectation? What the right way to put that would be, what are you actually doing? What are you actually working for? Because we all want to be entrepreneurs and all of that. But if you haven't figured out the 9 to 5 ritual, entrepreneurship can't be for you. And why that fits is because your proclamation has to be disciplined. Meaning, if you've never sold anything in your life, you have to get some know-how before just doing it. Because you'll have a great product with no know-how, which means you would spend more money than you would make. If you are connected to the wrong people, your lack could not even be your fault. Your lack could be because God is teaching your connection something that you learned already. But now, because of your connection, you have to deal with that with them, or even because of them. Here is the biggest praise report you're going to get, especially concerning 2020. It didn't break you. It didn't break you. It was hard. Some of us started the year out one way and ending it another. Some of us started the year out with plenty of money in the bank. And some of us are barely getting by at this point. Some of us started the year out with no money and have plenty of money now. But the question still remains, what are you proclaiming? What did God say about you? What is your purpose in this life? What are you good at? In this whole season of COVID, did you figure that out? Like, what I did was, immediately I threw myself into things. And I had a lot of other life situations kind of happen around me this year. But I threw myself into things that I've always wanted to do. So I started school for real estate. I am learning how to play the keyboard. I am looking at being a life coach and counselor. And all of that while working, while relationship, and all of what that meant for me this year. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. What is it that you're doing? Is this God purposed? Or are you rebelling? Are you complaining? Are you doing the thing that your grandparents spoke over you? Those who had a grace for certain areas in your life. Who are you making proud? And who are you failing? Are you proclaiming the word of God so much that you are no earthly good? Or are you not proclaiming anything and you're just existing through this word? It's sometimes the easy questions are the ones that's hardest to answer. Lastly, I'm going to add this part in because it's just good here. When you have a proclamation of any kind, no proclamation can be fulfilled without discipline. What are you talking about? I'm glad you asked. So, like me, again, because there's no better example in anything but yourself. So where you can honestly look at yourself and say, okay, I failed here, I did this, I didn't do this, and all of that, that means growth. Because if you can identify your failures, then you can identify how to fix it. Anyway, so, like with me, I started the year out saying, before the year is out, I am going to have lost 75 pounds at least. Because those of you who know me know I am the biggest now than I have ever been in my life. And I don't like it. Here is the oxymoron of that. Was my goal attainable? Yes. Did I do it? No. Why? Because my problem was greater than my praise. My problems outweighed my intentionality to lose weight. I didn't resolve that I was going to lose weight. Because resolutions never happen. I stood flat-footed in my proclamation and in my declaration, and I said, before the year 2020 goes out, I am gonna have lost some weight. Gyms closing is not an excuse. There are things you can do at home. I just won't do them. I just won't. So then I can't say I'm serious about losing weight when I haven't disciplined myself to do whatever is necessary to make my goals attainable. A proclamation without discipline is failure. So the question isn't just, what are you proclaiming? The question isn't even just, who are you connected to? The last question and the main question here is, are you disciplined to obtain the thing, to fix your problem, or to turn your problem into a praise? If you started out the year in the red and you proclaimed that before the year was out, you was going to have at least $10,000 in the bank, what did you do to make that possible? You proclaimed it. You declared and decreed that all of this, even in the midst of COVID and all of that this was going to be your year. This was going to be your season. Nothing's going to stop you. And then unexpected showed up. What are you doing? Did you keep your own word? I promise you, it's not deep. It's really simple questions that sometimes are the hardest to answer. Did you keep your own word? Now I am bigger at the end of 2020 than when I started. Not because I didn't have the ability to do what it is that I wanted to do. Not just because it's what I want, but I want to be healthy. So cutting out soda ain't enough when I drink more sweet tea than they can make tea for. I got a cup of tea right here. But I will say this year, I drank a lot more water than I ever have in the rest of my life. Why do I say that? Because even when I didn't attain my goal, there was something that I did that did help me. So now I just got to complete the entire process. You can't ignore the process for the problem. You don't go from problem to praise with no process. And if you don't know what to proclaim, stand on his word. Because he said, I'll be with you until the end of the world. He said, you shall be above and not beneath. He said, I know the thoughts that I have for you. He also said, write the vision and make it plain. And I know I failed there. I said a lot. I didn't do a whole lot. Most because, in all reality, in all truthfulness, that in which I didn't do, I didn't write down. So there was no roadmap. I was just winging it. What are you doing? Who are you connected to? What are they saying that is anti what you're doing? And sometimes it's not a whole lot different to you. To you, it could be entrepreneurship, but to someone else, it could be $1 million status. And the two are not synonymous. They're not the same thing. You can have $1 million status and don't know how to work your $1 million. So you end up broke anyway. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're not guaranteed to make $1 million. They're not the same thing. And it may sound like the same, but they're not. So I just wanted to get on to obey God, to do what he said do, say what he said say, and to go to work. So I'm on my way to work now, and I really hope and pray that I said something that helped. I know I have some reevaluations I'm going to be doing. I hope y'all have a good night.